Hi everybody, I'm Christina. I'm introducing Emma Littmoden today. She's a professional horse trainer in the field and a specialist, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. I'm quite excited actually because we're going to be talking about racing and horses and equestrian things and all the things that we love to know about, particularly in the UK and Europe. I think we're very big on those particular areas. She's been doing some amazing things with her horses, and I think we're going to get into that, how she's done that with the conditioning and stuff like that. Now, she's recently moved to the Ala region in Perignon in France, which is exciting stuff because I'd love to do it. It's a dream for most people. I'm sure we all want to do that. I certainly was looking at those pictures of where she is and I was thinking, I want to be there. And she's moved there with her husband, Nick, and her daughter, Grace. And they sold up their property in the UK North and bought a property with 30 acres and 21 stables. And it's like an equestrian paradise. You just got to see this thing, okay? Her husband Nick is a racehorse trainer. He's for a training yard at Hippodrome in De Moulins in France with 20 horses. There are 14 at home, and she'll correct me if any of this is wrong, okay? Since being in France, she's had some super successes. I've been watching her on social media and having fun with all of the outstanding results with them. So we're going to get into that a little bit today. And for those people who love horses, love pets, animals, and anything in between, this is for you, okay? It was lovely to meet you, Emma. And yeah, I want to tell me a little bit about the move to France and what happened, because, you know, we're all quite excited about that.
Oh, well, I'm really happy to be here. So thanks for inviting me on. So the move to France, it was, well, I can't say we thought it through because we didn't, but we decided to put our place on the market last year because of COVID. We were worried about owners and everything else. And our property sold really quickly. And it's actually very funny because Nick said, what about going to France? And I said, don't put all these ideas in Grace's head. And then he saw this property on the market. And oh my God, we just like the house, 30 acres, there was a horse swimming pool, a walker, a lunge pen, 21 stables. And I was like, oh my God, well, we've got to go. So we actually came over and picked a horse up in November and had a viewing and decided, let's go for it. And we just thought, do you know what have we got to lose? Let's just up it and go. And that's literally what we did. And now we've got here, there is quite a lot of challenges with a lot of paperwork, but it is beautiful. So yes, we actually moved 14 horses, 4 dogs, and myself, Nick and Grace, and he's bought quite a few horses since he's been here, so, and people have sent him horses, so I think we are nearing 30, which is fantastic. But it is, yeah, and how lucky are we, Christine, that we can take our businesses anywhere in the world and work, which is just,
I love it. Yeah, I totally agree with you because I know you're passionate about what you do. You've been doing it a long time. I know I was reading a lot about you. You know, you've come from you used to ride as an amateur. I know you had an injury and you had to hang up your race boots for a little bit, but you've ridden over 120 races, 15 wins, plus one over fences. I mean, you've done some amazing things. I mean, you've been here. It says you've been represented Great Britain in Vienna, Slovakia, Malaysia, and Baden. I was like, whoa. So when I read that, I was like, oh, wow, that's great. I horse ride, but not in this capacity. Okay. So I was like, okay, this is very cool. And so I'd like to know a little bit more about that. You obviously had the injury, but you can tell us a bit about your wins as well as the injury, obviously, because I think that'll make quite interesting, conversation. But tell me a little bit about this first and what you did to go from it, because I know it's quite a story.
This actually only happened last year and it was hideous. I had a bad year last year. I had a back operation in January. I had a prolapse disc. And then I was getting fit for that and riding. And I got on a horse, I swung my foot over and the horse took off. And we went across a car park and I broke my shoulder in 4 places. And 7 weeks later, my arm still wasn't attached. So they had to put the most enormous pin in to attach my arm. So it was a really hideous injury. And I think we're probably going to go on to how I recovered and what helped me recover. But yeah, it wasn't a great injury. But I am fully fit now. I'm back riding the racehorses. And hearing you say about, it's almost like a lifetime ago, riding as an amateur. Yeah, I was really lucky. Nick put me on a lot of nice horses. I did ride around the world. And yeah, I had quite a few winners and it was fantastic. Now I say I'm too old and heavy, but really I did retire through injury. But I still ride the racehorses. I absolutely love them. And, I'm strong, which is great. So I'm having the pin removed in August. So I've got to come back to the UK to have the pin removed. So I'm just hoping that being healthy and in good shape will just only take me out for a couple of weeks. So yeah.
But not just for horses, you've been taking something to help your shoulder as well. I mean, it's got an anti-inflammatory effect, isn't it? It's quite magical. I know because I've tried some of this myself. It's been quite incredible. You know,
Well,
the
yeah.
back injury that I've used it on myself. So yeah.
So what drew me to these range of products was I was looking for something to help me get better, get stronger. And I started using these products, and after 4 days, I felt better. And it's like, holy cow, if I can feel better. And it excited me so much that they did an equine rein. I was like, if I can feel so much better after 4 days, what can this do to our animals? So that's when I said to Nick, come on, we've got these beautiful horses. And, you know, my husband is a good racehorse trainer, so I can't take it away from him. But I also know these products have really helped enhance performance, which is just fantastic. And horses can't talk to us. So we have to rely on how they move, how they look, how they feel when you're riding. And you can see in a race their peak performance. So we have to be guided by other things with our equine and probably with our dogs and cats. On these amazing products.
Well, your dogs, do you have gun dogs there, or are they just working dogs, or do you have, what sort of dogs do you have?
Oh, they're pets. We've got 2 Labradors and 2 Jack Russells.
Oh,
yeah, so yeah, they're all pets. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, we're getting a little bit more, we're getting to a little bit of how this works, because we're talking about a type of superfood, guys, that actually helps with human animals and animals themselves. And I'm a big advocate of this myself, which is why I'm introducing Emma today and talking about this a little bit further. We're getting to some interesting things. Now, this story only gets better. You know, she's gone to France, she had all these wonderful wins. Nick is this super trainer, which he is. I mean, you want to go actually read about what they do. It's very impressive stuff. You know, I was, how did you get into the racehorse training business? Because my mind went curious. I thought, how did they do it? Where did they meet? Tell us a little bit about your story a little bit. That would be nice. Yeah.
Oh God, this is bizarre. People won't believe me when I tell you this. You're finding a lot about me here. So Nick was a racehorse trainer, and I always wanted to ride in a race. So I basically bought my own horse, put it at the British Racing School in Newmarket, and went to ride out for a trainer. And I actually started riding out for Nick. And while I was still training, and I had my first ride on my own horse, I came second on it. And then the next time I rode it, I won. That was with a different trainer. So it was really exciting. And then Nick and I started dating, and we were together 12 days before he proposed to me. And I said yes. And so then I became a trainer's wife. Then I became Mrs. Littmoden. And I became a trainer's wife and his amateur jockey. So it was a lifestyle. It wasn't a job. It became a lifestyle. He had 80 horses at the time. So we were really busy, riding out 3-4 lots a day, going racing, and just having a really great time. And then Grace came along, and I became a mummy, and life changed again. So yeah.
Those were all mothers. I can relate to that. And when I met my husband's Nick's exactly the same name. He was, his family, his dad actually had a racehorse, and he was in the racing scene. All his family went to racing, so we was for the races. He was good around the horses, and that's some of my backstories meeting him. I've been with Nick a long time, the same way Nick. And obviously been married a long time, but it's really cool. I like backstories like that because it's nice to share with people, because they don't realize, you know, even when I'm doing my, you know, getting in front of the camera and saying hi to everybody, they think, oh, there's just Christina, but there's obviously my Nick as well, which is really cool. I love it. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about, you know, I understand that Grace rides as well on a nice note, because we talk about mummies, and she's won some red and blue rosettes and some great things herself. And she's following your footsteps, I gather, you and Nick's footsteps with the old horse riding. Is that?
I know. So she's 13 now, and since we've been over here, she's been riding the racehorses, which is actually quite terrifying when your daughter comes upside you at 25 miles an hour on a horse. But she's a super little rider. She events. We're just trying to sort her eventing out here, which is very complicated. But she's got an eventing pony, and I think she's talking about switching sides going into the racehorses, but I'm trying to keep her eventing for as long as possible, keep her stirrups as long. But yeah, she's a nice rider, and you know, how could she not love horses when she lives in this beautiful place in France with horses all around her?
I love it. I think it's a paradise. I think what you're doing is wonderful, just on its own, let alone anything else. So Grace is, but how old is Grace now? Because I was
So
looking
she's
at
13.
13. Oh, wonderful. So she's really getting into it then. That's really nice. Nice age for enjoying horses. I love it. I remember with my son Liam, he started horse riding when he was about 8. And in his teens, he enjoyed it. You know, it's a nice thing to do. It's a therapy, not far from where we are. We've got the Vale behind us, as you've heard me say on some of the things. We've got the Vale behind us, and it's a lovely horse riding country. It's beautiful. It's really nice. Yeah, okay, I like that. That's really nice. I like things about children. I love they follow in their parents' footsteps. What can we say? Now, you train horses for their owners ahead of races. Is that correct? And is that what you do? So tell us a little bit about how you get them into condition, what you do with horses, because for those of us who perhaps not as a bit more novice around that, give us a little bit of a potted sort of idea of that.
So people send horses to Nick for him to train them, whether it's a 2-year-old at his first race or an older horse or whatever really. And Nick puts them on a training program. Each horse is individual, but our big belief is a routine. So they get into a routine so they're relaxed. And that for us, that is the most important thing. So we're very lucky because in Moulin, we've got the training yard, and it's quite busy. You're on the training tracks and there's quite a lot happening. And after they've raced, if they need a bit of a break, they come back home and they can have a bit of a letdown for a couple of weeks before they go back to Moulin. So I feel really lucky we've got the best of both worlds. But for us, it is about consistency, good diet and good routine. And obviously good riders. So you know, you need all those things. You need to have, you know, good food. We get our food over from Ireland. We haven't changed our food. Obviously, they're now on these superfoods, which is great. And yeah, it's about the routine. From you know, we take them to the races. Nick chooses the races, chooses the jockeys, and from start to finish, he sees it through. So
Yes, he does seem very committed, very focused, I must say. So actually, what I have had a good read of your backstory and the good stuff around the business, which is what you have. It's an incredibly good business. I'm rather enjoying that. I remember reading your commentary. You really used them as a big effort over such varied and formidable fences. Takes practice as out will bring him on further. You travel great, and I remember reading that on your social media. Think, oh my gosh, the passion! It's like whoa. And I think you were talking about the Imperial Racehorse with Hugo Lucas riding. Is that correct? I mean, obviously,
he's
enjoyed that.
Special horse in peril. So I actually, Nick saw him. He claimed him from France 18 months ago, and I saw the race, and I said, I'm going to buy a leg of him, and I put in my own money to buy some of him. So for me, one, I own a bit of him. Two, I ride him most days, and he's just beautiful. And yeah, I mean, God, they're under a lot of pressure, you know, when they're going over fences, they're jumping. He ran last week at Auteuil and the fences were enormous. It was like a Grand National track. They were absolutely massive. And seeing him exert himself and jump over these fences was just amazing. He was just, oh my God, amazing.
I loved it. I actually enjoyed your thrill of it because having been at races myself, I was like, oh my gosh, this is big. But I saw you on him. I think I've seen you on that horse. And I'd love to see some more of that. That was brilliant. I feel that when people they perhaps watch horse racing, they don't always understand all that goes behind it. And that the horses themselves are quite sentient and aware. And you have to condition them and love them and learn about who they are. And I guess to some extent you could say they have temperaments because I personally feel they've got temperaments. But, you know, I can see that with your Imperial. I can see you two. I can see that sort of bond, and I was thinking about it the other day when I saw some of your pictures. But it's really nice. So I'm going to share that nice side of it because I love animals. Okay, so now we're going to talk about fitness and power and performance, and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong on where I'm going with this. But you know, fitness and diet. We're talking about this superfood. Now, have you noticed a difference using certain things, certain products, and certain things with their performance? And what have you noticed about that sort of thing? Because you're the one working with the horses, of course. So as you said, they can't talk, and so. What have you noticed so far?
So there's two products that we've used, and one is I call it the blue juice, which is in this bottle here, and I drink it as well. But there is it for the animals, and I think we're all on the blue juice. But for the animals, it's fantastic because it helps production of blood cells. It helps regenerate more red blood cells. It boosts iron. It's all well round. It builds immunity, so it gives all round wellness, and it just is amazing. And like what we've noticed is that their peak performance lasts longer. So that's the oxygen that was obviously helping them. I want to say that I was trying to describe it to someone the other day, and they said, well, how do people feel? And I think, well, you know, when you go upstairs and you get to your last step, how you feel. Taking this, you feel like the last step is like your first step. Do you know what I mean? You still have that at the end.
That's a really nice analogy, Emma. Yeah. Hold on that. I like that. I like that because I'm anemic, and I said I'm a human animal. When I noticed that myself, I've got more power and noticed it straight away. And I like that analogy. It's a super analogy. I just think about that, guys. If you've got horses or anything else, or if you're humans and you want it, it's just a concept. I love that. Yeah, let's go forward with that. Yeah.
That's the blue juice, and it goes in their water every morning and every night. Every horse in the yard is on this. Literally, they have one capful morning and night, and it goes into their water. And Imperil is so funny, when I tip it in his water, because they've got automatic water feeders, he goes over to it and he just drinks it straight away. He absolutely loves it, which is really nice. So that's one of the products. And not all the horses, some of the products I've got on this, which is the Move. And I say, why not all of them? You know, because some owners don't want to pay the extra. I'm going to be perfectly honest. That is probably why. It's not the cheapest of products, but when you have a product that works, why would you not use it? You know, because this product is called Move, the Natura Move, and it's fantastic to help suppleness, joints. And when your horses are under pressure, whether they're jumping, dressage, or just hacking or whatever, you want to give them the best possible. And it's an anti-inflammatory. So Imperil basically is on this every day. And I've got 5 horses in the yard that are on it every single day, and they're on 50 mils. But after his race, I upped it to 100 mils just to give it a bit more of a boost of the anti-inflammatory, just to look after those joints after they've had quite a you know, they've been stressed, haven't they? They've been stressed and fatigued. So this will help with recovery, help the joints and inflammation. And when I go back to eventing, which I will, hopefully the end of this year, I will definitely be putting my horses on this to help with their movement. And
so let's think about it. You know, horse is expensive, right? And stabling is expensive, and food's expensive. So this is actually, though it is, I agree, it's a little bit more pricey, but it's still worth it because, of course, the value of the horse, which is the point you're making, I think. And I think we all appreciate it. I'm going to use a really strange analogy. I have thoroughbred animals. I like cats and dogs and everything, but I have a thoroughbred Bengal cat, and she is very sensitive to anything. But we put her on the same stuff. And her coat is sleek, her eyes are greener, she's fitter and well. She needs a lot of care in a sense because she's thoroughbred, just like a horse. And I noticed that. And I think, wow, what a difference. She can't talk either, but she does look and act far better. So I like that. I love the way you're just describing it as well. It's wonderful.
Well, no, for me, when I say, you know, I can't remember what it is, what this retails that out at, or I don't know, 90, £100 a part sounds really expensive. I'm not sure. I'm just saying that's what it is.
It's arbitrary, right, Beth?
But that sounds expensive, but if it can improve your horse, and the difference between first and second or fourth and fifth, you know, if it makes that difference, it's not expensive. And if it stops your horse going to a vet, or if it prevents that, it is not expensive at all. In fact, Annabelle, who works for us at Mulan, she put her Aventa on it, and she said after 4 days she noticed a difference. And you will, this one you'll notice after 4 days. You'll notice.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I agree with that. We got, like, the pets and the people we work with, equestrian things. They've got different insurances. We got pet plan, very expensive, but because I've just explained the Bengals, if anything goes wrong, it gets expensive anyway. But you know, you weigh up these different things, and I agree with you. I think it's great value. Your explanation, because you're a specialist with horses, helps. You know, it's different to talking to somebody who's just randomly talking about something. We're talking about somebody who knows what they're talking about, and I think that it's got to be emphasized. And certainly, if you're talking to other people and you're showing them this, you may perhaps want to describe the context. It's a great place to start. Now, it is a superfood. It's safe. It's got nothing in it but all the good stuff. There's nothing in this thing but superfood, okay? I know this because I research it, and I know a little bit about it, and I know that Emma's endorsing that fact there. Now, you know, for me, your lifestyle where you are, and the fact that you can work from home, you've got these wonderful horses, you've got in the right place, the right time, with all the right, if you like, ingredients, is magic. You know, I've enjoyed listening to some of your lives and how you've been moving there and all the things that have been going on, like I was saying earlier. But you've just given us such a great, lovely little potted sort of interview about your lifestyle, the horses, the benefits, and the things you're doing to condition, train, and look after them, and getting them to peak performance so they win races, and of course they're in good care. And for me, it's been a pleasure. You've been absolutely delightful to talk to, and I'm glad I've got you for 5 minutes where you've been running around sorting yourself out in France, and it's been an absolute delight. So thank you for such a lovely interview.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me, Christina.
More than welcome.